Hello, welcome to our live stream. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you can see me. Hi. Thank you for joining our live stream. Hopefully everything works. This is our first time doing a live stream, so if there's some issues, sorry in advance. We're not live streamers, we're not Twitch streamers, but we're doing our best. My name is Maximilian Kofton. I'm the president of Travelmate Robotics, and today I'm going to be showing you around our final assembly area for our company. And that's the plan for today. I'll talk a little bit about the history of our company and just show you, in general, our whole production facility. Alright, let me just change the camera here. So right here, this is the outside of our building, as you can see. And apologies for the portrait mode, I can't change it in here, so you're gonna have to look at hopefully you're looking at this from a smartphone. So we started our company in early 2017, and we raised funds through Indiegogo for a prototype, and afterwards we successfully developed the prototype. We got someone using our suitcase right there. Well, I'll show you some more of that later. And from there, after we successfully developed our prototype, we transitioned into, let me just switch the camera one more time. We transitioned into mass manufacturing. And what a lot of people don't appreciate is that mass manufacturing takes up maybe 95% of the total process. Making a prototype is all well and good, but then transitioning into being able to mass produce something, that's a whole different ball game. Prototype development is maybe 5%, if that. And so after we developed the prototype, we set about making a whole supply chain. There are 64 different components in each suitcase. And it's kind of disingenuous to call it just a suitcase, because more so it's a robot assistant. It's a platform for a robot, and that's how you should think about it. And so we developed a supply chain of 12 different suppliers, mostly in China, and we at first contracted out assembly. But over time we realized that no one has ever really made anything like this, because the nature of the product, it's a new type of product, right? So there's no one already making this at a factory. It's not like you have your own brand of cat food and you can just contract that out as OEM. No, this is a whole separate product. And so we realized that we need our own final assembly plant, and we realized that at around the end of 2019, actually before the COVID pandemic. And by the way, I'm wearing a mask because here in Thailand there's still a lot of COVID and there's a lot of restrictions, so we all gotta be safe and wear masks. So apologies about this, but nothing much I can do about it. And so we were able to set up our own final assembly plant here in Thailand, and then obviously afterwards the whole COVID pandemic hit, and that kind of indicated our direction, because when you think about it, you still can't really get into China. It's practically impossible. So we were able to bring our engineering team here, set up a final assembly plant here, and move forward here. So now what I want to show you is just a little bit about the suitcase, the inside, because I don't think we've shown enough about the inside of the suitcase. And then afterwards I'll show you the battery, and then I'll show you the final assembly plant. This area right here is the wonderful air-conditioned room, which is comfortable, and we use it for quality control, for testing. As you can see, we got a bunch of suitcases here. So this is Vlad. He's our lead engineer, and this is one of our suitcases. And as you can see, the inside is quite spacious. The interesting thing is that you can actually take the whole liner out, as you can see here, and replace it with a different type of liner. So you can customize your own suitcase however you want. You know, setting aside that it's a robot, I don't think I've seen any other suitcase be able to do that. So in theory, like you can imagine, there's an insulating type of fabric, and you could put that on instead and use it as a cooler that moves around on its own. Or just make something more fancy, a different type of liner. And so we've been able to fit all of the electronics between the rails here, and it's covered by another plastic sheet. And what this does is it makes it water resistant, it makes it so that it's damage resistant, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's the inside of the suitcase. Now moving on, I'm going to show you our power bank. These are some electronics in their blister packs, as you can see. And before I show you the power bank, I'm just going to show you some other stuff here in this little room. These are some more electronics and blister packs, some just suitcase shells. These are diffusers for the lights on the side of the suitcase. You can see some sensors, some testing equipment here. Let me see if I can these are ultrasonic sensors. So now, moving back to our power bank. This was a whole separate development. The power bank needs to be completely within the guidelines of TSA, but more importantly, within the guidelines of IATA. IATA is an organization that covers every major airline, and you have to follow their regulations in order to fly with these suitcases. So this was a very, very important part of the development process, making sure that this works, that if we speak up, that it's well made, and so on and so forth. We have a separate supplier for this too. And so, in addition to the development process for this, did all of the certification for it. So if you look here, FCC certification, which is for the United States, PSC certification for Japan. And actually, PSC certification is something that a lot of companies don't do, mainly because it's quite difficult. You need to send like 50 battery packs and get it tested. There's a lot of bureaucracy around it. Worth it because the PSC market into the Japanese market. So we have that done, as well as CE, which is the and ROHS. Now, this power bank, in addition to powering the suitcase itself, and you would put it on top, you can also use it to charge electronic devices. So you can see there's 2 USB ports, 1 USB-C port. It's quite convenient. Some plastic helps protect it from the rain and water, things like that. Maybe some debris. So that is our power bank. So a little, very, very important towards the whole product line. So now I'm going to show you our main assembly area. Again, it's for the portrait mode, but I can't switch it to landscape, so it is what it is. So this is our final assembly area. That's an Easter egg for you to figure out. As you can see here, we have a lot of suitcases pretty much ready to go. The only problem is that there is a shortage of electronic components, so we are waiting on things like batteries to come in, but you can see that they're ready, otherwise. There's another suitcase. And you can see some more suitcases. Actually here, I'm testing some materials. I'm trying to show you everything at once, but yeah, some more suitcase stuff. This is the back of our suitcase. Inside shell, air conditioner, you need that here definitely. What this is the front part of our suitcase. And how this is made is through a process called vacuum forming. We use a vacuum forming mold to take the plastic and form it into this shape. And once you form it into the shape, you would then take, and cut it around there to make the top part of the suitcase. But this, as you can see, is just, just to show you the process. Here's another one of them. If we go down here, we can see some more suitcases moving around. You can sneak around them. At this point of the live stream, I'm destroying my knees. So, I just got out of the live stream. I hope that I'm still live. 1 second. Hopefully I'm still live. I just accidentally opened my camera. I mean, in a separate application, but in any case, it's going to be pre-recorded. So even if it got interrupted, I'm sure you'll be able to see it later. And by the way, if you're just joining us on this live stream and you haven't seen the first part, no worries. After this ends, it's going to be on our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to see everything anyways. This right here is a bunch of cardboard boxes, but it's actually for our robot. So we try to make it look interesting and cool, and just better than just normal black and white. It's got a QR code as well to help identify each suitcase. It's Vlad over there, Roman over there. Some more suitcases. Here as well is more vacuum form molds. So when you make just a regular suitcase, the plastic part, this is what it looks like before you cut it. And after you cut it, then obviously you go through the sewing process and that type of thing. So maybe you can show it like doing obstacle avoidance. So what it's doing here is it's seeing that there's a leg, or for example, a wall or what have you, and from there it goes backwards and then it keeps moving. So that's obstacle avoidance detection and moving around. All right, moving on to more of the final assembly area. These are just some materials we tested out. This is our Travelmate assistant. I'll talk more about that later. Right here are some Bluetooth locks. You can see more here. And this is just basically to lock and unlock the robot through Bluetooth. This is actually something that's quite important. It's what allows the suitcase to move vertically, because you might have noticed that when the suitcase is vertical, it's got 2 wheels, right? No, it's actually got 4 because of these omnidirectional wheels. And so you put them on the front, and that's what enables it to like spin in place and do all sorts of maneuvers. So let me show you that on this one. Ultrasonic sensors, obviously, battery in there. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let me just. So these are wheels. And actually, we went through 3 different suppliers because the first one that we tried to use couldn't make enough of them. Second one, the quality just wasn't good. And now finally we have decent quality wheels. So yeah, there you go. Simple thing, but also even just this is a separate supplier. Again, there's no one company that makes all of this, so we gotta do it all ourselves. All right, so now moving back to let's say over there, I want to show you something called the Travelmate Assistant, and it's right here. They're still playing around with those suitcases. The Travelmate Assistant is our mass market product. It's harder to explain, it's much easier to show, and whenever we show this to potential buyers and distributors, they're always interested in this specifically because it's less show-offy, but it's much more practical. It's not fully autonomous, but it's got 2 motors in the suitcase, as well as sensors like an accelerometer to detect your angle, your speed, height, things of that nature. And so it uses motors to compensate, so you feel like you're carrying nothing. Now this technology, yes, it's used for a suitcase right now, but it can also be used for warehouse applications, for bigger devices. It just depends on the size of the motor, but the technology, which is proprietary and patented, can be applied to different products. And so now, just to show you how this product works, we have our embedded systems developer, Nick. He'll tell you a little bit about the Travelmate assistant.
So hello everybody, now I will show how it actually works. Let's say you have some language. As you can see, I prepared 2 bottles of water. It's pretty heavy. And I put it inside. And now all you have to do is just prepare your batteries.
We use the same one as for our robot.
Just fix it and turn it on. So now it's ready. I have to launch my
Application.
Yes. Start this device. So don't worry. You have to do it only at first time for activation or for further some settings. So you can set angle, you can set different modes, and then it is ready to go. So you have just to tilt it and it works. So you can see I can move it.
So basically, there's two gallon jugs of water in there, and he's been able to use this with just a single finger because there's motors helping him.
Actually, it's going almost itself.
Yep. So like he can let go, and you can see that the motors kind of work on their own because he's already set the angle to it. You can run a little bit too.
Yes, I can run. I can go up or doing up. So as you can see, it's not a problem to lean out, lean up.
Yeah. So that is the robotic assistant. Now again, this technology is patented, but moving back to our normal robotic suitcases, it's important to note that for anyone that understands robotics, the majority of robots right now use something called camera vision or LiDAR, or a combination of the two. We don't use either system. We use our own proprietary system that's been granted a full non-provisional patent. And so this patent covers any robot that is connected to your phone and follows you. And so you can imagine that this technology can be applied to different robots, different brands, different applications. And the advantages of this tech is that there's no limitation in terms of light or visibility. You know, it doesn't matter if there's fog or if it's nighttime or if it's too bright. Those are limitations for other robots, especially ones that use camera vision. You know, just the nature of it, they use a camera. But with us, we don't use that system, so it works in 24-hour environments, night or day. It doesn't matter. All right, so now I'm going to go back into the air-conditioned room because I am sweating a lot. All right, so let me just switch the camera here. The position of our company, I think we're in an incredibly good position. We've been able to go from the prototype stage into mass production on a very limited budget, by the way. And I think that our exit strategy of going into an IPO still remains the same. You know, we are raising on Start Engine. We've been relatively successful. I think we'll go up to our max amount that we can raise under Regulation CF, which currently is 535K. And then from there, we can start to look into an IPO strategy. And of course, this is beneficial to our investors, things of that nature. When you look at our product line, it's not just our robot suitcase or our robot assistant, but more so it's a whole range of robots that we have developed, from cargo applications to golf to sports equipment. There is a lot that we've made, and that also increases the value of our company. And so last thing I want to show you before we end this live stream is our cargo robot. And what the cargo robot is a fully featured autonomous robotic device that has a dynamic autonomous capability. Let me just switch my camera here. And that's it right there. And so, this is a really robot in every sense of the word. It generates a map dynamically of where it's going, and from there, there's no preset path or anything like that. It just makes an autonomous path. But it also uses something called neural networks. And what neural networks are is that they can connect to each other via like a local mesh Wi-Fi of sorts. And so this allows them to autonomously communicate with each other without the input of a person or anything like that. You can imagine that this comes in handy in more remote environments. So for example, you could outfit this as a snow cleaner, for the life of me I forgot what they're called, but you know what I mean, something that cleans snow. And you can have multiple of them cleaning the road, talking to each other. But what's more interesting in the perspective for this is that you can apply this not just to our own planet, but say somewhere like Mars. You could have 3 or 4 of these as autonomous rovers, and they communicate with each other. Obviously, right now, if you're looking at rover technology on different planets, then the limitation is that if you give it a command, it takes around 30 minutes for that command to reach that rover. But when you have full autonomous functionality like on here, and you have a local neural network or mesh Wi-Fi, then that kind of eliminates that problem. So yeah, that is our cargo robot. By the way, still haven't decided on a name on it, so we're still working on the name for this robot. When we decide to mass produce this specific robot, I think we'll need a separate place to do that, because this robot needs welding equipment, CNC machining, things of that nature. But for our robot suitcases and robot assistant, our current production facility, this is all it, by the way, is more than enough. Our limitation right now is with electronic components. So as you know, there's a big shortage of electronic components around the world, because everyone is transitioning from something called just-in-time manufacturing to having more inventory on hand. And actually, the company that pioneered just-in-time manufacturing, Toyota, moved away from this model a little bit back in 2011. If you remember, that was when the Tohoku earthquake happened. And so back then they realized if they don't have more inventory in stock and a supply chain is disrupted, then there's a big issue. They won't be able to make enough cars. So they learned to stockpile at least 6 months worth of inventory after that happened. But other companies didn't get that memo. And so now everyone at the same time, us included, to be completely honest, are trying to scramble for more inventory, more electronic components, which just further exacerbates the shortage problem. But with that said, we should be able to start making more units, sending them out by October, even actually sooner than that, we'll be able to start sending out more units again. So yeah, that is the general gist. Thank you very much for joining us on this live stream. Yeah, we're located on like a greater industrial area. There's other factories here. And thank you very much for taking a look. Again, if you're just joining us and you don't know what this is all about, don't worry, because you'll be able to see this after I end the stream. It'll be on our YouTube channel, so you can take a look at the playback. But thank you very much, and hope you have a good one. Bye bye.